She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We here are so very blessed that you decided to spend your day, or at least this hour, with us. Hey, if you've been joining us every single day, we are so very grateful for that. And I don't know if you've connected with us on Facebook or not, but let's connect. You will meet the most amazing people that you could ever want to meet on Facebook. Literally, the community over there is incredible. And remember, they're just like you. They're like-minded individuals who want to succeed. They want to succeed in every area of their life. And that's what this show is about. The Dani Johnson Show, brought to you every single day on the UA Network and the Truth Network, as well as 24/7 available on YouTube and our website, DaniJohnson.com. We also have an app. If you don't have the Dani Johnson app, go ahead and get a hold of that. It's free. You can listen to this radio and television broadcast right there through the app. Anyway, why should you do that? Society is trying to get you to believe that success looks a certain way, dresses a certain way, acts a certain way. We're here to tell you that you have your own personal definition of success. I grew up on welfare, pregnant at 17, homeless at 21, and millionaire by 23. Today, multi-millionaire who gives 100% of the profits of our business straight to those who cannot care for themselves. The extreme poor, the sex trafficked, the widow, as well as the sick, the hungry, the cold, and those who have no water, no shelter, no food. That's what 100% of the profits from our business goes to, and no, I do not take a salary. So, as a volunteer producing this program, as well as all the seminars that we do, the books, the audios, our entire business library and finance and relationship library, 100% of everything that we do goes straight to helping those who are actually in need. But this program is set aside every single day for you and I to connect, to really come against the ideas and maybe some of the lies that you've believed throughout your life, that maybe you have to sacrifice your family in order to become successful. I'm here to tell you that's a lie. That you have to sacrifice your health in order to become successful. I'm here to tell you that's a lie. There is a proven way to become successful in every area of your life, and it is not what society is telling you. Here on this show every day, you have the chance to learn skills, you have a chance to get new revelation, get some encouragement, as well as a clear path on how you can succeed in your career with your money that you work so hard for, as well as in your relationships. Joining me today, I'm so excited. We have a brand new client who began on the path with DaniJohnson.com just 10 months ago. Her life was a complete disaster. I cannot wait to dive deep inside of her story for you to hear what she was wrestling with, how she overcame, and where she is today. You're going to be shocked. I mean, I was shocked. Literally, I had been seeing her for the last 10 months live at our First Steps to Success and Creating a Dynasty events. Those are 3-day events that are taking place. And she was always in the near of the front of the room. And then somebody chose her to tell her story. And I got to hear it and I was like, what? This has got to be one of the fastest huge debt testimonials that we have heard, like meaning in the shortest period of time. We have people who've paid off millions of dollars worth of debt. But this is a crazy amount of debt paid off in a very short period of time. So if you've ever found yourself in a place where you hated people, that you hated life, overweight, completely suffering from the pain of an outrageous amount of debt, your relationships suck, your life sucks, there only seems to be one answer when you're in that kind of pain and suffering, both in relationships, in your career, and in your finances. I think you probably know what the only option is in the mind of someone who's suffering through that. Wait till you hear this. Bringing you right now from Phoenix, Arizona, Tammy Zappier. Tammy, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you, girl. Now, quickly tell your story inside of 30 seconds, and then I've got a lot of questions for you about how you got there and how you got yourself out of this bad situation. Go for it.
Okay, so prior to getting started with DaniJohnson.com, I hated myself. I thought I was an abomination. Didn't like people. I didn't trust people. So I had very few friends. Didn't talk to anyone very much. I'd put on a mask and I'd pretend that I was okay. I was drowning in a lot of debt. It was super, super stressful. And And I had very little relationship with God. After plugging in and applying myself, I first started in August of 2015 was my very first event, thank God. I learned about the war on debt. I learned about who my father really is. I learned about my true identity in him. I learned principles about understanding and really connecting with people. As a result of applying all those things, I am now debt-free. I have amazing relationships with my entire family. I have an incredible amount of friends who I can turn to for wise counsel. It's been amazing.
Tammy, how much debt have you paid off?
$457,500.
You have paid off in 10 months $457,000, $457,500 in 10 short months. Most people who have $457,500 worth of debt are thinking, I'm not going to pay that off in the next 60 years of my life. So obviously something really ticked at First Steps to Success for you. Like something said, I can do this and I'm going to do this. Now, tell me, how in the world did you get into that place of hating people, hating life, hating yourself? What brought you to that place?
I learned from a young age, it was things that I had taught myself when I was really young, that I couldn't depend on anyone, that everyone out was out to get me or everyone was trying to get one over on me. Learned from observation of how people carry themselves. Learned from the industry that I work in. Dealing with people kind of taught me in a weird way that I shouldn't depend on anybody, that I should second guess everybody.
Wow. What is the industry that you've worked in?
Collections.
Ay, ay, ay. So you're the bill collector. Wow. And how long did you work as a bill collector?
14 going on 15 years.
My goodness, that's incredible. That's incredible. So the lies that you hear, right? Because people lie their tails off to bill collectors, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So what about as a kid? You said that as a child, and you know what I love about what you said? You took personal responsibility.
Yeah.
You completely owned your choices. You said you learned through observation, and you chose beliefs that obviously set your life up for failure and hating people and hating yourself. But what happened to you as a child? What was the child environment that would draw you as a child to then a young adult to a young woman hating yourself?
A lot of it was my father, who is a complete opposite personality of what I am. Mm-hmm. And so we butted heads a lot because I would challenge him a little bit, and he would make promises and not follow through. He would miss things that I thought were really important as a kid, like my, choir recitals or, school-related things. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of taught myself from there, hey, I can't depend on anyone, especially the opposite sex.
Wow. And so that was just a decision that you made in your head, and it created a belief, and that's what happens. We go through experiences. We create a whole belief system based on a very skewed experience. We only use 10% of our brain. That's all we use. I mean, that is scientifically proven that all we use is 10% of our brain. And imagine, we're a 5-year-old, we're a 6-year-old, we're a 7-year-old, and we're making lifelong decisions, and we're creating lifelong belief systems that now we create a prison out of these belief systems. And then we live inside the prison that we created when we were 7 years old, all based on beliefs. Like, I cannot trust and I cannot count on the opposite sex. I can't count on my dad. And when you can't count on your dad, man, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. Yeah. Did you feel like he didn't love you because he did not pay attention to you? Or did you feel like you were neglected?
At that time, I thought I wasn't a priority. Now, looking back, going through forgiveness exercises that First Steps taught me, I realized he was doing the best he could with what he had, and I've been able to forgive that completely, which has been amazing for me. Absolutely amazing.
What is your relationship today with your dad?
Oh my gosh, we talk like every other day. He's a musician, so I go to his shows. He comes to mine.
Wow. So you're saying that your relationship with your dad has also been restored?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, everyone that I ever struggled with, I practiced forgiveness and, confessing to them what I was going through and how I was feeling. And yeah.
Wow. And how did that go? Like, take me into the conversation that you had with your dad.
Dad, gosh, sorry, I might tear up.
It's okay.
So my conversation with him was pretty much to the extent of, I feel like when I was younger, you were never there. It was really hard for me to look out in the audience and hope you'd be there for a choir recital or for theater or for anything, and you weren't there. And then, then it was just asking for forgiveness for him, because I realized from what I was taught recently at First Steps that he was doing the best he could with what he had. So I basically explained to him, Dad, I know that you were stressed. I know you were supporting a family of 5 people. I know that you were like swimming in debt. I know you were stressed out. I know that your sales job was highly stressful and you had health problems. So looking back, I'm going to ask you to forgive me for being so judgmental on you, for not knowing what was in your, the walk that you were dealing with in your shoes. Because I've never been through that. Yes. So please forgive me.
Wow. What did he say?
He was just kind of quiet for a minute, and he just kind of nodded his head. And thank you for understanding.
Wow. It's so hard for a parent. Because again, a kid only sees the one tiny little side. And again, we use 10% of our brain, right? So it's from the kid's perspective, they see this tiny little part of their parent's life. Yeah. And it is so skewed and it's so small, and it's certainly not from the place of understanding, right?
No.
Not at all. Gosh, it's actually from a place of selfishness. It's a place from what I want, the kid wants, and it's certainly not from the place of understanding. It's not from the place of wisdom. It's not from the place of seeing the entire picture. And it's so unfortunate because parents get a bad rap and they get attacked with hatred and unforgiveness and bitterness when they're trying so hard. I mean, your dad was so dedicated to his family, so dedicated to putting food on the table, so dedicated to providing shelter. You know what I mean? And not only that, but it's his first rodeo. He never raised kids before, right? And who knows what his examples were, what your grandparents were like. I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? And man, I think your character is so incredible, Tammy. It's so amazing that you humbled yourself the way that you did, and you did what you did. This is Dani Johnson. We will continue with more right after this.
Tammy's story is far from over. When we come back, hear the choices she made that turned her life around.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do with your life? Discover your own answer. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Can you literally go from that moment of hating yourself, hating everyone around you, having $457,500 worth of debt and not seeing a way to pay it off, having a career that you hate, and be able to turn the entire thing around? Can you do that? The answer is yes. Joining me right now is Tammy Zappier from Phoenix, Arizona. She has overcome all of those things in literally 10 short months. How? She heard about first steps to success and creating a dynasty through the website DaniJohnson.com. She plugged in immediately and started practicing the things that she was learning in those 3 short days. In 10 months, $457,500 worth of debt gone. Tammy, are you now debt-free, or how much more debt do you have to pay off?
I am completely debt-free. I own my house and my car. I have no bills to anybody.
Oh my gosh!
And I tithe at minimum of 15% a month.
Wow!
To the King's Ransom.
So you're giving 15% of your income to the extreme poor.
Yes.
And you are completely now, in 10 months, 100% debt-free, owning your house, owning your car, all of your bills are paid for.
Yep.
How does this feel to go from this hating, depressed woman to you've restored your relationships by taking personal responsibility with your family and the judgments you had? You dealt with those. You dealt with these beliefs that you had at First Steps to Success. You just squashed every one of them that were not helping you, rebuilt a whole belief system, and you are prospering like crazy. How does it feel to be, like, if I would have came to you 10 months ago and said, because I tell everybody, give me 1 year of your life at First Steps to Success. Give me 1 year of life. If every one of our events for 12 solid months, press play every day with our library, like with all our business training, our money training, our relationship training. Press play every day, give me 1 year of your life, and you will not recognize your life a year from now. It has only been 10 months, Tammy.
She's not lying. It's true. It's been 10 months, and I plan on continuing to go. I keep seeing results, and things keep getting better and better. I still do collections, and I'm changing the relationships in the face of the collection industry by connecting with my people and turning them on to Dani Johnson.
Oh, my God.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
That's hilarious. Yeah, because obviously someone has bills and collections. They need what we do. They need DaniJohnson.com. Yes. They need War on Debt. They need First Step Success so they can kill the cycle of their bad financial patterns in their life. Okay, but tell me, if I would have said to you, if I would have sat you down, put my hands on your shoulders and said, Tammy, 10 months from today, you are going to be completely debt-free. 10 months from today, exactly, right? 10 months from today, Tammy, you are going to have love in your life. You're going to have restored relationships with your parents and your family members. You're going to look at your job in a completely different way. What would you have said to me if I would have grabbed you by the shoulders and told you that?
Can I have some of what you're smoking? That there's no way that can happen. Not to me. No, that's exactly what I would have said.
Then what caused you to take action?
I heard a voice in my head that said, actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
And I said, okay. And I went with that. That's exactly what happened.
It's true, because you have not been one like shouting from the mountaintops at the event at all. You have been so teachable. I've watched you. I mean, I'm not kidding you. God has highlighted you to me so many times each event where it's you have been so hungry and you've been sitting there just taking massive notes. Come on, you've been to a lot of events in 10 months. Yeah. You've pressed play at home a lot. You've tuned into this program a lot. You're familiar with the content. But every time I see you, Tammy, you have been fresh. Like, teach me more, hungry for more. You're allowing the content to hit you on the inside, and you're leaving that event and you're putting it into practice. Thank you so much for setting such a powerful example. I am so grateful for you. I really am. I am inspired by you. We were all blown away when we heard your story, and it challenged the rest of the clients out there who have not been so silent and taking action. They like to talk a lot and not take action. But you were one who silently took action and then brought the results before us. It's people like you that keep us, to keep all our team going. I'm serious. It is these kinds of stories that just make us go, wow, it's worth it. It's worth the work. It's worth the sacrifice. In my case, it's worth the volunteering that I do because I don't get paid to do what I do. It's worth putting up with everyone's excuses. It's worth putting up with everyone's bad attitudes. It's worth being misjudged and prejudged, because when we see a Tammy Zappier rise up out of ashes and become the living, breathing example that she is to the world today, it is worth it. All right, listen to me. Do what she's done. Go to DaniJohnson.com, register for First Steps to Success right now. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered, because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, First Steps to Success in Creating Dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know in my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com, go on the website, get plugged into the community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college. And I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so. I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
The way you look at things is about to change. It's time to take on a whole new mindset.
Are you and your spouse like two ships passing in the night? Is your relationship not quite where you had hoped it would have been? Have you gone through what most couples have? You know, you lose the tingles after about 2 years. Has that happened? And then you're feeling like, we're just kind of falling out of love. Has stress completely suffocated the life out of you, the love out of you, the hope out of you? That's exactly where Cody found himself when he first heard about DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success. I am so excited to have him joining us via Skype right here today on the Dani Johnson Show, because he's going to show you how he became successful and how he went from that scenario to not only that, but also having some incredible financial success as well. Cody, Owen from Bend, Oregon, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, Dani, how are you doing?
So awesome. So happy to have you here with us. And I just know you're going to inspire so many men and give women hope. If you can, quickly share with us where you were when you prior to First Steps to Success. What was your life like?
I was the typical work-at-home person. I was working 80 to 100 hours a week. I never saw my family. My wife was constantly joking about feeling like a single mom because I was never home. And when I was home, I was always burnt out. I didn't have any time, any energy, any heart left to give to my family. And it was just miserable. And I had no results to show for all of the time that I spent wasting in my business.
Wow. So you had a business that afforded you to work from home, obviously something that you did online, and that was consuming your life.
Yeah, actually, I have a landscaping company, and I started out really young in life, pretty much right out of high school with my own business, never knew anything about running a business. And what I did is I was very good at landscaping, but I just, instead of making a business, I made a job for myself. And I thought I would kick the boss to the curb, and instead I ended up chained to the worst boss imaginable, myself. So...
Such a true statement, because now isn't this so true, Cody? People think all the time, I want to be my own boss. But what kind of a boss would you be for yourself?
A tyrant, I drove myself insane. I would wake up in the morning sick because I hate failing. I hate giving up. Quitting just is not in my vocabulary. Yep. So I was always so driven to keep going out, and I had filled my head with these excuses about, why it was so important for me to go out and work all the time. And, I had to sacrifice my family because providing for our needs took precedence over my actually being there with my wife and with our son. It was just terrible.
Wow. Okay, so I want to hear what those excuses are or were that you filled your head with. That because you were a slave driver, a tyrant. You were worse than a dictator.
Yeah, and I was making less than minimum wage to boot.
Oh
It was
my
just
So when you calculated your hours, you're like, I could go get a job at McDonald's and do better.
yeah, that thought crossed my head several times. I couldn't bear to quit though, so
Wow.
I just kept going back and spinning my wheels and burning out. It was just terrible.
You know what's so sad, Cody, is that is the standard plan for success that our society sells us. That literally is it. You were living the so-called American dream, which to me is the American nightmare. Because that's what they tell us to become successful is you sacrifice your family, sacrifice your health, sacrifice any fun or social life, sacrifice everything in order to be able to hit your goals and become financially independent or successful. And it is such a crock. It's the biggest lie ever told to man because you don't have to sacrifice everything to become successful at all. Now, mind you, I obviously, as you know, as we've spent some time together at First Steps to Success, you know that I lived that same exact life. I worked 100 hours a week. I neglected my wifely duties. I was a terrible wife. I was a terrible mother because I was never around. When I was around, yeah, I got to hug and kiss my kids like once a week because when I left in the morning, they were in bed. When I got home at night, they were in bed. I was a terrible person. And I did the same thing. I drove myself, buying the excuse that this is what it takes to be able to make it happen. And it's the biggest freaking lie on the face of the planet as far as business goes. So what changed? How did you hear about First Steps to Success, in fact?
Well, I'm really glad that you asked that. We were first introduced to you, that is my wife and I, through your book, Grooming the Next Generation for Success. Our son Jordan was at that time had recently been diagnosed with Asperger's, a type of autism. And my wife and I were just kind of looking at our life being a big cabal, a bunch of chaos, not successful. And we both kind of come from unsuccessful backgrounds, more or less. And we didn't want that for our son. And we knew that we were going to have a really tough uphill battle with him, just in terms of teaching him how to get along in society and interact with people and be able to support himself. Because when we first got that diagnosis, you kind of have this moment where you have this picture in your head that flashes in front of your eyes for just a moment of your son being 50 years old and you're wiping drool off of his face or something like that.
Wow.
You know, and thank God Jordan is very high functioning. So we knew that going in, and we're like, we have to have a plan for how to make him successful. There really aren't any parenting books about that. So we had the good fortune of finding your book.
How? How did you find the book?
We went to all the bookstores in town, which were quite a few, and we found your book. My wife found your book underneath the bookshelf on the floor, and there was a bunch of dust on it. I don't think anybody knew it was there. They certainly didn't know who you were, but she found it, and the title was all she needed to know, and she just bought it and went out to the parking lot, and I think she read it in a few hours. And came home crying to me and was like, we got to do this. So, yeah, we just read the book, and we're really diligent about implementing the simple, powerful principles that are in it, teaching our son honor and respect and people skills and obedience and things like that. And in the end, it was really powerful because rather than just making an obedient child, which is what a lot of people tend to be after when they're looking for parenting advice, we really won our son's heart. And he obeys us through, loyalty and out of love. And we demonstrate those principles to him all the time. We honor him and he honors us. And when we make mistakes, we own it. And we teach him to do the same thing. So.
Yes. Wow. Have you guys gone back to that bookstore and let them know what has happened to your life since you found that book full of dust under the bookshelf? What an awesome
I should
story.
do that. I haven't actually thought of that.
You guys should. You should. In fact, you should bring a copy of this show to them, you being interviewed. You know what I mean? Like, you need to watch this. You know what I mean? Bring your iPad and go, you need to watch this because I'm talking about your bookstore here. Oh, my gosh.
Well, it's so amazing because my life was so unsuccessful. I mean, really, I was a complete failure, and I was just a mess. And when I read grooming, one of the most amazing things that stood out about it to me was how much of it applied just to me. I'm reading it and I'm like, where was all this information when I was growing up?
Yes.
You know? So it was kind of my initiation really to the First Steps events, because it really prepared me to do that. And we read the book so many times that, just it made that transition into First Steps and Dynasty wonderful.
Yeah, and so your whole family has been to First Steps and Dynasty, and you're obviously you're not working 100 hours a week anymore.
No, after our first event last January, so
it's been a year.
15 months.
Yeah.
We gave you a year, just like you told us to, and we're still here. So. About 4 months after our first event, I really started to own, what you were telling us to do in terms of taking control of your life and creating a schedule and time secrets. And our accountability coach, Steve, was all over me, keeping me accountable with the schedule and making sure that I was cutting my hours because, I was just killing myself working so much.
Yes, and that's so bad. I mean, it's literally, you're young and you're killing your body and hurting the marriage and neglecting the son. When we continue, you're going to hear what has happened to Cody and his wife's, their family's finances. There's a shock that happened when they cut their hours way back and they focused on that which was important. You are going to be blown away to hear about what has happened in those finances. And by the way, grooming the next generation for success. This is what the book looks like if you're watching this on television right now. If not, go to DaniJohnson.com right now and you can get your copy of Grooming the Next Generation for Success if you're listening on the Truth Network or you're listening to this on your iPhone. Get a copy of it. It is powerful, and I've said it so many times. So many adults have said, I need to re-raise myself. My parents did the best they could, but they left out about 7 chapters that's inside this book. We'll continue with more and wait to hear the rest of this shocking story. This is Dani Johnson.
Cody came to a realization that changed everything. Stay tuned to hear what it was on The Dani Johnson Show.
You want to succeed, right? But you do not want to fail God at the same time. There is a way to succeed from a biblical perspective, and it's far greater than anything you could ever imagine. Over 500 scriptures I studied to study money, everything that the Bible said about money. That's in the first couple chapters of Spirit-Driven Success. Not to mention leadership, working with people, growing a career, being used mightily in the marketplace, which is where Abraham, God used him in the marketplace. And Joseph, God used him in the marketplace. Moses, God used him in the marketplace. Daniel, Solomon, really all of the greats of faith, most of the greats of faith throughout the Bible, they all were in the marketplace. And God wants to show you how you can be used mightily by him in the marketplace. Right here, Spirit-Driven Success is where all of my notes are on how you can do that. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Spirit-Driven Success today.
So I just want to give you a little bit of my story. This is my first time sharing my story on stage, so I'm a little nervous. But I'm excited. I was just asked, seriously 3 minutes ago to share my story. So we'll see how this goes. So my name, like Ray said, my name is Keridan Roundy. I am from Wyoming. Is there anyone else from Wyoming here? Yeah! I was thinking, I think I'm the only one that I've met from Wyoming. That's cool, I'm glad. So prior to plugging into Dani Johnson and First Steps to Success, my husband and I were completely drowning in debt. We got this new job and we increased our income, so we increased our way of living, which is what happens. And we were young, we were just married, and we completely bought more than we needed. We bought a new house, we already had a truck loan, we bought a new car, we lived to the max. And our marriage started to struggle. And we got to where all of our fights were about money constantly. And my husband had a really good job, so we had plenty of money. That was not the issue, it was that we never kept any of it. We spent it on stuff we didn't need. So just a little bit of background, it's just my husband and I, we have no kids, and we bought a 6-bedroom house. I I know. Well, that's just, we had the money. The bank told us we had the money we could, so we did. And so obviously we spent the money to fill those rooms in that house on stuff we didn't need. So anyways, our marriage was failing. I mean, we were young, we just got married, and all of our fights were over stupid stuff that was unnecessary. And so I remember one time, just like a quick little look into what it was like. I remember one time sitting in front of our fireplace, our nice fireplace in our nice house, and we were fighting over how we were gonna pay for Christmas for our families. And that was the eye-opener for us, that something had to change. And so we made a decision, and I started a business, and that's what actually opened me up to DaniJohnson.com and to First Steps to Success. And so after coming out of First Steps to Success, we have now been able to pay off, this is crazy, we have now been able to pay off just over $300,000. Which is completely crazy because we just thought debt was something that you live with. You know, you're always gonna have a mortgage, you're always going to have a house payment, car payments. That's just the way life goes. And little did we know that that's not the case. So we now live in a smaller house. We love it. We actually, I have less house to clean, which I'm good with. And we live so much more simple, and our marriage is completely turned around. We no longer fight about money. We wonder where we're gonna invest into next and how soon we're gonna get, the mortgage paid off, and that's exciting to us. So everything's just completely changed. And, the relationships that we've been able to grow with other people that are wondering what we're doing, that's been amazing because we've met so many great people, and learning what Dani's gonna teach this afternoon has helped us grow to being people more than anything. And not like we hated people before, both of us. Like we never had those skills. And so I'm really excited for this afternoon. This afternoon's gonna be completely transforming to you. As far as being, like she mentioned this morning, your business is people, your business isn't your product. And so with that being said, I just want to have you help me welcome back my mentor and America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Could you imagine being in a place where your son, your little boy, has been diagnosed with Asperger's? Your wife is complaining that she feels like she's a single mother. You have no plan for how are we going to raise our son and help him to be an honorable, respectful young man who one day will provide for himself even with this issue that he has in his life. And your business is failing. You're a husband who feels like a failure, and there seems to be no way to turn around. Joining me today is Cody from Oregon, Bend, Oregon. Was it Bend, Oregon? Yes, Bend, Oregon, who has a profound story. I am so proud of who he has become, his wife, his family, the example that they are to the world, really to everyone around the world, because they're the living, breathing example of going from the status quo of success that says sacrifice everything, work 100 hours a week, and don't have a marriage and neglect your children to become successful, to then coming to the revelation that that's not the life I want to live. This is terrible. This is not what I want. How do I fix it? And that's what happened with Cody. So Cody just finished telling us that after he'd been to First Steps to Success, he came 15 months ago is when they first came out, and the results in his life are completely different. Cody, welcome back to the Dani Johnson Show. Tell us in 15 months what has changed. So tell me about the marriage, tell me about your son, tell me about your business and your finances.
Well, right off the bat, after coming out of my first event, First Steps to Success, I went out, I started making phone calls, just calling up people on the phone, cold calls, something I'd never done before. Mm-hmm. Burned up the phone lines, and what happened over the next 4 months was our business doubled, and we went from a $200,000 company with 2 or 3 employees to a $400,000 company, and I had 9 employees, all doing the work that I used to do, and I was able to wean myself off of this sort of false illusion of control that I had, that I felt like I needed to have over everything, where I was the bottleneck and everything that happened had to come through me, and passing off autonomy to my people, and setting my business up to succeed. So it was actually overwhelming. I went from having one problem to another of having too much, and I had to learn to discern what was healthy growth and what was unhealthy.
Yeah.
So
wow. So your business grew right away from from the business techniques that we teach at First Steps. You instantly applied some of those very basic ones. I mean, I'm shocked you actually took the skills that we said and you just started making cold calls to get new business for your landscaping company, because you got to grow it. You got to get new business coming in the door. And that's what you did, which is absolutely phenomenal. What happened in the marriage? From the ships passing in the night and your wife feeling like a single mother to then what happened in the marriage?
Well, we actually started spending time together. It was amazing. We really focused on having a weekly date night.
Awesome.
So we started dating each other, and we'd go to our favorite restaurant, and for a little while we kind of stare at each other, and, look at the walls and around at the decoration, wondering what on earth do we talk about besides business and kids, because those are off limits.
Yes.
But my wife and I are just so incredibly close, and I love being around her. She's an amazing, honorable woman.
She is.
Very dynamic, very powerful person, and I've missed out on that for the last 9 years, and I'm so glad to actually be back in the picture and enjoy life with her again.
Yes. And that's who you were working so hard for, right? Isn't that so crazy?
Absolutely.
It is so backwards, right? These husbands have been programmed to believe that they want to be successful. They have to sacrifice the one that they're working so hard for. No, you don't. That if you do not enjoy life and enjoy your business with your wife, I'm not saying she has to work with you, but the business is never to overtake the marriage. The one that you love, the one that you gave your life to, it is supposed to enhance that relationship, not destroy it. And so 9 years of destroying it to now, wow. You guys, you love being with her. She loves being with you, man. The way she looks at you is so perfect and wonderful and honorable. I mean, her eyes bat like crazy. She's got a sparkle in her eyes. You can see, I know she still gets the butterflies now. You know what I mean? You can see the butterflies popping up in her belly when she looks at you and when she sees you talking. It was amazing the last time I had you guys at the event with the microphone in your mouth telling your guys' story. It was incredible to me. All right, what is the relationship? What has happened with your son?
Well, he's really the whole reason why we started this. We started coming to First Steps for him because, we'd been doing the book for a couple of years at that point.
Wow.
And we'd purchased a few other materials on the side, but we had never really committed and gone to an event. There's only so much you can get from a book before you have to go and experience the real thing and be in that dynamic atmosphere and around the amazing people that come to these events.
Yes.
So, the whole thing started with us, our sincere desire to help him succeed any way that we could. Yeah. So we went to our first event 2 years after we got the book, and we had our son start his first business when he was about 5.5, so that he could begin learning, what it takes to make money, how to speak to people, especially adults. Scripts is a huge thing for him because, with Asperger's, he doesn't necessarily understand how to behave in a social situation the way most kids and adults would. So he has to be taught all of that.
Yep.
So, we had to go to the next level just for his sake to keep him engaged and keep him growing. So we started bringing him to events. And it's like we've experienced all this growth and all these changes in our lives. And to us, it's all just an amazing perk, because the real reason that we went and that we keep coming back is to make sure that, he is growing and he has what he needs to succeed. And we're investing into his education now instead of waiting until he's 20. He doesn't need a degree in kegers or whatever it is they do these days.
Cody, I've got 1 minute left. I want you to speak to the husbands who are in the place you were. What do you say to them?
You've got to, it kind of depends on the man that you are, but for me, I was challenged to come to the end of myself, because with the type of person I am, I want to be in control. I want to control everything around me. And that sort of control that I had was an illusion. And what it was distracting me from the real power of being a godly man, being with my family, leading my family in the direction that I wanted them to go, and really stepping out of my comfort zone, because all of that false control just created the false sense of security that I could control it all. But really there was no faith in it. There was no commitment in it. And now I'm engaged on a deeper level, committed to my family and committed to my company in a way that I never really understood before.
Yes. Get to the next first steps to success. Husbands, bring your wives, bring your children, as long as they're of an age that you feel that they can handle it, taking notes and paying attention with 1,000 people in the room. Get there now. Don't wait. You have a chance to have the same story that Cody has. You have a chance to become that husband that deep down inside you want to be. The father deep down inside you want to be. First Steps to Success has a certain special way of planning out, showing out a course that will take you to a place you never even thought was possible. You want to grow your business, double your income like Cody has? Do you want to restore a passionate relationship with your wife and become the father you've ever dreamt of? First Steps to Success. Go to DaniJohnson.com right now. Get yourself registered. No excuse. Let's make this thing happen. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this. The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
My name is Chelsea Drinkard. I am 25 years old and from Tampa, Florida. And like most college students, I was a recent college graduate, got my first big corporate America job. That were all we were told we were supposed to do. But I had a problem. Within the first couple weeks, I found myself crying every single day after work. I thought I was going to get fired. I was on a path to financial destruction, and I had no idea how to communicate with my family or my boss. Within the very first 6 months of plugging into DaniJohnson.com, War on Debt, and First Steps to Success, I annihilated $2,500. And weird pause. I also increased my value so much by applying First Steps to Success and what you're about to learn right now, gems, that I was offered a promotion, and I received a 10% increase in my pay. When I did decide to leave when I did decide to leave the business, I became so valuable, the CEO pulled me aside into his office for a private one-on-one meeting, asking me what they could do to keep me. Not only that, since then, I've just started, through War and Debt, I'm hosting War and Debt weekly classes. I'm facilitating War and Debt webinars. I'm living life by design, not by default, like the rest of my other friends who are stuck in debt in their 20s. And not only that, I'm going to Thailand for the 3rd time this November. I'm working with women and children rescued from the sex trafficking. So I don't know about you, but all I know is if you want to have better relationships with your friends and family, you want to increase your value at your work, you want to expand and grow your business, get more done in less time, I urge you, sit on your seats, pull out your pen and paper, turn off your phone, lean forward and hold on to every single word that Dani says, because this will change your life.
Change your habits, change your future. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, what a day, right? My gosh, I am so inspired right now. What about you? Please let us know how you enjoyed today's program. Come on, from Tammy, Zappier to Cody, Owen. Whoa, right? From a woman who hated herself, hated her job, hated life, and hated people, and $457,500 worth of debt. She's paid it off in just 10 short months, restored her relationships with her father, her family, her friends, just prospering in her job, and now is completely debt-free. To Cody, Owen, wow, 2 ships in the night, totally estranged from his wife, not knowing his son, gets a hold of grooming the next generation for success. His wife finds it in a bookstore on the floor underneath the bookshelf with dust on it. That's the best part of that story. But look, they found solutions on how to raise their Asperger's son, and they learned at First Step Success and creating a dynasty, as well as bringing their son. Their marriage was totally restored. He cut his hours in half and doubled his income, doubled his company, his landscaping business, as well as, wow, he only had 2 employees before, now he has 9. He's helped the economy and provided jobs. Something that several of our past presidents haven't been able to figure out how to do. Anyway, come on, friend. Give me a break. What is your excuse? It is time. It is time to stop thinking about going to First Step Success. It is time to stop thinking that if you've been to one, you've been to enough. It's time to get over your excuses, take control over your life, and start putting into practice the things that we teach at First Steps and Creating a Dynasty. It is time, and it is your time. If these 2 individuals can make those kinds of changes, they're no different from you. Come on, Tammy's from Phoenix, Arizona. Hello, Cody and his wife are from Bend, Oregon. Give me a break. I told him, give me 1 year of your life. 1 year, and you'll not recognize your life a year from now. Both of them have followed directions, and they have set the example before you. It's your turn. It is your turn. Do you want your life to change? Do you want your finances to change, your career to improve? Do you want to get promotions? Do you want to become the person you know you should be? Do you want to become the spouse or get a spouse? Do you want to become that parent that you know you should be? And do you want to have kids that you know that your kids should be? Then you're going to join me at the next First Steps to Success, DaniJohnson.com. Go there now. No messing around, friend. Go there now. First thing to do is register for First Steps to Success. Write this down. Second thing, get on the daily fix. Every single day, you and I have the chance to talk through email. Every day, we're going to drop a message into your inbox that's just something, a tip, a skill, a strategy that you're going to use either for your career, your family, or your finances. These things are going to get better if you and I connect each and every day. And don't forget, tune in every day right here. Same channel, same place. If you want to see it on TV, UA Network. If you want to listen on the radio, The Truth Network. If you want to see it 24/7, DaniJohnson.com is where you can watch the show 24/7, as well as your iPhone app or your smartphone app. You can have the app as well. Listen, it's been an awesome day. Your story is the next one that needs to be told. God bless you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
This has been the Dani Johnson Show. If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.